Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson, foreword by Kenneth Blanchard, Ph.D. Other works by the same author include The 1-Minute Manager, The Precious Present, the Gift that Makes You Happy Forever, The 1-Minute Salesperson, The 1-Minute Mother, The 1-Minute Father, The 1-Minute Teacher, 1 Minute for Yourself, Yes or No, The Guide to Better Decisions. Dr. Johnson earned his BA degree in psychology from the University of Southern California and an MD degree from the Royal College of Surgeons, and continued with clerkships at Harvard Medical School and the Mayo Clinic. Mr. Johnson has also served as Director of Communications for Medtronic, the inventors of the cardiac pacemaker, research physician at the Institute for Interdisciplinary Studies, consultant to the Center of Study for Persons, and the Leadership Fellow at Harvard Business School. Johnson originally came up with the story according to his publisher after hearing his son tell a joke about cheese. Mr. Johnson soon developed the story from his son's joke during a very trying time in his life. Mr. Johnson's friend and co-author of The 1-Minute Manager, Ken Blanchard, convinced him to put the story into paper and finally publish it. The book picked up momentum after 2 years and has now sold over 35 million copies worldwide. It is translated in several languages and remains a staple to the business CEOs and basically anyone that is part of the human race. Originally told as a short story, Johnson was encouraged to write and publish a book by friends who found it to be profound in its motivational anecdotes and similarities to life in general. The story of Who Moved My Cheese was soon applied as a business algorithm for its usefulness and an adaptation for change in almost every aspect. Who Moved My Cheese found its place outside business and continues to be the bestseller as a motivational manifesto. Key concepts of the parable imitate life and are that change is inevitable and we must adapt. The cheese is used as a metaphor for change in all aspects of life. One must know that change happens. We must anticipate change, monitor change, adapt to change quickly, change, enjoy the change, and be ready to change quickly and enjoy it again and again. There are 4 main characters of the parable: 2 mice named Sniff and Scurry, whose names, in my opinion, are representative or reflective of those that find what they need and move on to the next project once the resources have been exhausted. Sniff and Scurry are not the types to sit around and wait for someone to bring them cheese. They quickly adapt to their situation and hunt for new sources of cheese. The other 2 characters, the little people, are Hem and Haw, representative of those who wax and wane, are indecisive, or those that are resistant to change. These fictional characters are portrayed as those who we all know that feel privileged, superior, or just downright entitled to their cheese. Faced with their personal misfortune, they become angry and disheartened. Hem, in particular, becomes upset and begins to blame Haw for the situation they are in, but still does not want to do anything about it. Haw makes several attempts to persuade Hem to go on search for a new supply of cheese, but Hem only becomes more resistant to change and tries to bank on the assumption that cheese will mysteriously appear again one day. Haw decides to venture out and finally, and although he is scared and does not find new cheese, at first begins to overcome his fear and continue his search. Moving, searching, and adapting to his new situation is better than sitting and doing nothing about it. Eventually, Haw finds small amounts of cheese, becomes nourished, and gains the confidence that he can continue to venture through the maze and find new cheeses elsewhere. All the while that Haw is on his quest, he leaves motivational messages for himself and for his friend Hem if he decides to venture past Station C. Dr. Johnson summarizes his own story and says it best. The 4 imaginary characters depicted in this story, the mice, Sniff and Scurry, and the little people, Hem and Haw, are intended to represent the simple and the complex parts of ourselves, regardless of our age, gender, race, or nationality. Sometimes we may act like Sniff, who sniffs out change early, or Scurry, who scurries into action, or Hem, who decides and resists, or denies and resists change as he fears it will lead to something worse, or Hall, who learns to adapt in time when he sees change can lead to something better. Outside of his comfort zone, Hall realized that he was able to adapt and survive. He often wondered about his friend and left him the handwriting on the wall if him ever decided to come out of his comfort zone. A sort of mantra for survival. Hall wrote the lessons that he had learned on his explorations. Johnson gives 7 key points as it relates to this story and of life. First, change happens. They keep moving the cheese. The objectives change, and we must not wait for the change. We must anticipate it. Second, anticipate change. Get ready for the cheese to move. We must constantly be preparing and look for new changes that are happening around us. 3. Monitor change. Smell the cheese often so you know when it is getting old. Our surroundings are ever changing, and we need to remain vigilant of our understanding of the new changes that are happening around us. 4. Adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. Old ways work in the old days. We must embrace the new and discover the best methods to use to our advantage. 5. Change. Move with the cheese. We need to realize that change is inevitable and use it to our advantage. 6. Change. Move with the cheese. Savor the adventure and enjoy the taste of new cheese. Change is exciting, and we must look at it as a new venture instead of seeing it as nothing more than a hurdle to overcome. 7. Be ready to change quickly and enjoy it again and again. They keep moving the cheese. Basically, refer to lesson 1 and keep moving on. This book was written on the basis of life experiences and is explained simply. The fact that the story is so simply written and told as a children's parable makes the lesson so easily understood. The one defining lesson to be learned is that change is inevitable, and adaptation is crucial for us to obtain goals in any aspect of life. This parable is not based on some study or evidence base. It is simply a study of observations and discovery of common denominators of what works in any successful venture. These lessons are not groundbreaking or even new ideas. They are simply a reiteration or reinforcement of life lessons for anyone that is looking for motivation to change. How this story relates to the Uniformed Services University is very relevant. The story of Who Moved My Cheese could not hold more true than it does here at USU. Every student here at USU must be able to adapt to the ever-changing new challenges that we face every semester. We must all learn to work together as a team. We depend on one another to see the handwriting on the wall that our predecessors have left behind as a formula for success. For those that are unable to see the change and adapt quickly are doomed to remain behind and not move forward with the rest of the class. The sooner we learn from our mistakes, the quicker we are able to adapt and overcome. USU is challenging. The very process of entering is arduous, and those that are accepted into their prospective programs are expected to be highly motivated, intelligent, and proven leaders. CRNAs are looked upon as all specialty APRNs are, as clinical experts and mentors. As students, we are expected to learn our chosen specialty, and if we can take the lessons from Who Moved My Cheese, we will succeed. After graduating from our programs, we are expected to take the lessons learned here and apply them to future successes and an environment of paying it forward where we give future APRNs the foundations to be successful. However, once you walk through these doors, one must look forward to the enormous change that awaits. The relevance that this short little story holds for me at the Services University holds many similarities. I asked for this change. I could have stayed in my old life, comfortable and familiar. I accepted this challenge. Every day I have to change. I accept the new changes in front of me and do my best to accomplish goals. I definitely had to change from my old ways. My old ways of studying do not work here, and I have had to change those habits multiple times to find my minuscule amount of cheese that can get me to the next cheese station. I know that these challenges will never end as long as I remain in the CRNA specialty. I I know that I look to other CRNAs as leaders and mentors. I expect the changes to be never ending, and I am becoming more aware of my surroundings to give me the